Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mampolo from Mampolo's Canal. Renee, your mice. Guys, I'm surprised now. What is happening to Tinubu? Is Tinubu now agreeing that he actually forged results? I don't know. This certificate problem, you see this certificate problem, he hold Tinubu well. And the team pain him. What thing Atiku do, he really pained him. So is he indirectly now agreeing, owning up that I actually forged this result? It's not only me that have been forging results. Atiku have forged affidavit as well. You better say, no, yourself. What is the problem? When I watch this video finish, I can't say, is this indirect acceptance to forgery? I don't know. Maybe I watch video. Watch video.
On Sunday, spokespersons of Nigeria's former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar, held a press conference in Abuja to address allegations of forgery levied against Atiku by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's spokespersons, some of who claimed that affidavits backing Atiku's change of name in 1973 from Sadiq Abubakar to Atiku Abubakar were forged because they were signed on a Saturday. Well, during the press conference, Frank Shaibu, Atiku's special assistant on communications, brought forth evidence of affidavits signed on a Saturday in the same year in 1973 and challenged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to respond in the same way to allegations of forgery and other allegations levied against him. Shaibu also asked the president to confide in Atiku instead of hiring a horde of media aides to confuse the issue.
As a practitioner of democracy, especially someone who sits on the chair of a president, he must live above board. A president must mirror the moral rectitude of trust and transparency. To be called the president of a country is to be an approximation of the values that such a country stands for. Nigeria does not stand for forgeries and impersonation.
Jesus.
It is therefore on this note that we yet again call on President Bola A. Tinubu to follow the example of Atiku Abubakar, to clear the air about the doubts and kurukere about his past, just as we have done, openly, publicly, and we took the pains to go to Lagos, his own Lagos, where he ruled and superintended and has been lord over for over 23 years. Since Lagos is his domain, we ask Bola A. Tinubu to boldly walk into Government College Lagos and make available to the world, just as we have done today, a copy of the 1970 certificate, with which he sought admission into the Chicago State University.
You read?
He may as well tell us the business center inside Oluwole Market in Lagos,
Jesus,
where the document, the certificate was printed and given to Chicago State University, or where that certificate was gotten from, which was presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission. And if assuming the president is afraid to come out clean, because we can only assume at this point that Bola A. Tinubu has some skeleton in his closet or his cupboard, he should feel free to confide in us.
Jesus.
You don't need to have over 2,000 media aides for you to do your job well.
But they defend you.
We are just 3 of us here, yet we went to Lagos, Tinubu's Lagos, to investigate and put to rest the issue of Atiku's affidavit, which was signed on a Saturday.
Once and for
all. We took it upon ourselves to say, look, we must come out clean. We cannot be on the same page with a certificate forger.
Jesus.
Of course, you know, this press conference generated a lot of reactions. I'll just take only one, Ayo, before I come to you. This person is Oluchi. She wrote, Atiku's media team went for the jugular today in the press conference. It was a knockout punch on the APC. Jesus. Too much Pepe demo. I mean, for me, I think, you know, Frank Shaibu really went for the jugular there. I mean, he hit all the right notes, and I think it was important that he said that, you know, instead of going forward to block access to people knowing who you really are, just come out and talk about your identity, go to Lagos. Like he said, only 3 of them went to Lagos to find out, you know, and to present these documents, if we can pull up those documents, those affidavits, to show that Atiku Abubakar is the same person as Sadiq Abubakar, because if you recall, Atiku Abubakar had written WAEC in the name of Sadiq Abubakar, and then they said because the affidavit was signed on a Saturday, it was forged, but they have, brought out these documents to show that those documents were also signed on Saturdays back in 1973. Ayo, your take?
Wow, okay. So first of all, I must say that the Kurukere was just so hilarious. But as that tweet had mentioned, absolutely true in terms of the fact that Frank Schreiber, when I was saying it, that he has earned his pay when he was speaking, that he gave a detailed response to what the APC had accused the Atiku Abubakar camp. But beyond the I won't call it mudslinging, but the back and forth between the parties. The matter is now in court. It's going to be heard today in court from at the Supreme Court. So it's going to be decided in court who is lying, whose certificate is false, whose certificate was forged or not, if the evidence will be admitted in court. But one of the things I want to say is this. As a nation, as a people, we have to begin to evaluate where we are in terms of our morality and the kind of nation that we're building. Because what happens often is that someone accuses or makes an allegation that you forged a certificate, and your response, rather than going to present evidence that you didn't do it, to put paid to the insult and to this grave allegation, you then begin to say, you too, you forged certificates. So it's now a battle of whose sin is bigger, as opposed to saying that actually I didn't do what you was accusing me of doing. And that is what we have seen a number of times. And perhaps it's time to begin to elevate our consciousness as the kind of leaders that we have, whereby response to an allegation is not a counter allegation, or saying I'm justified in court, or implicitly making that statement I'm justified because you too, your hands are not clean either. The question on ground that was asked, as was presented by Mr. Frank Schreiber, has not yet been addressed. Rather than spending so much energy and time focusing on the fact that, well, you are not clean as well, just tell us, give us the document, give us the evidence. That's all Nigerians and the Atiku Abubakar camp are asking for. So for me, the lesson out of this is more about the fact that when we talk about, this person has done bad, there's a suspicion of this, like saying, OJ, you stole 10 naira, you stole, did you steal 10 naira? Or this outfit you're wearing, you stole it from whatever store you bought it. And you're like,
I'll give you the receipt, I'll show you the time, date.
Exactly. And so my first response, before saying that, you too, your yellow dress is also stolen, is to say that this is my receipt. It is mine. That's all what we're asking for. Don't take people for granted. Don't abuse the intellect of Nigerians by saying that, so let's stop this counter. Anyways, they're in court now, which is the proper place to finally get justice. So beyond the court is, these things are easy. We would have avoided all these processes. Absolutely. Show us evidence. That's all.
Rufai, really quickly, Frank Schreiber has asked Tinubu to, maybe seek advice from Atiku instead of hiring over 2,000 aides.
You see, one thing is clear and simple. May God remind us where the race started to beat us from. We have lost our bearing as a country. Nigeria has now become a country that is a circus, so much joke. The president of a country, his educational background is suspect.
Jesus.
We are going to court to determine that.
Jesus.
What else do we even want to know again? And other people that bring up the matter, the bandwagon is quick to also now say, you too, you have a skeleton in your cupboard. I don't support anybody. Anybody that has skeleton, they should be able to bring it down. But once the Atiku team has come out to the fore, the president too should be able to come out.
It would be nice to see, if you recall, Peter Obi had that same press conference stating the same thing. Just come out and
what is going on. But you see, we live in a world where some people are paid to gaslight Nigerians and to distract them. So please do not be distracted. And somebody gave an analogy. When you see people trying to turn the issue around and gaslight, just like how some people said public opinion does not count. Somebody gave an analogy, says, see, when another bird called, I think a crow, comes on the back of the eagle to attack the eagle, you know what the eagle does? The eagle doesn't fight back.
Flies high.
The eagle continues to fly at a higher altitude. So when it gets to that altitude, the all doesn't have the capacity to get in oxygen to relate with the eagle at that point, so it dies off.
Yeah.
So once people start this gaslighting conversation, insist on the most important conversation, because the president is the president now.
Right.
So he needs to be able to tell us the truth. And don't waste your time replying to these gaslighting conversations.
Right.
Once it's been clarified, yes, like I said before, Atiku Abubakar and other candidates have a right to be able to respond to the man. Once they clarified, stop responding to people that try to gaslight, because distractors are trying to detract you away from the issue.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop the issue that it is sad for Nigeria that we have to go to court to even determine the certificate our president presented.
All right.
Have you people seen the video? That was what I was asking. Does it mean that Baba Tinubu is now admitting to forgery? Because if somebody have accused you of forgery and you are saying, what about you? Didn't you forge this one? It means you are accepting that indirectly. That is my interpretation to that. I don't know if you understand what I mean there. So the only defense you have to present to Nigerians is to let us know that what they call Atiku have forged one affidavit. That's your defense. In this country. In fact, let me leave this one. Let me leave the guy. Let me update you guys what happened in the Supreme Court today. Let me update you on what happened in the Supreme Court today. The case between Asiwaju, Tinubu, and P2B has been adjourned. It has been adjourned. There are some 1 or 2 they said I want you to listen to the video. No time. Watch the video.
The Supreme Court has reserved its judgment on Labour Party candidate Peter Obi's appeal of the February 25 presidential elections outcome. A 7-man panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Inyang Okoro, okayed the matter for judgment after all the parties adopted their briefs of argument. Peter Obi and the Labour Party, through their lawyers, led by Levi Uzoku, a senior advocate of Nigeria, urged the court to uphold the appeal and set aside the judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court, which dismissed their petition. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, President Bola Tinubu, and the All Progressives Congress, through their respective lawyers, asked the court to dismiss the appeal for lack of merit. Obi, who came third in the election, had in his 51 grounds of appeal maintained that the Presidential Election Petition Court panel erred in law and reached a wrong conclusion when it dismissed his petition. He alleged that the panel wrongly evaluated the proof of evidence he adduced before it and occasioned a grave miscarriage of justice when it held that he did not specify the polling units where irregularities occurred during the election. Peter Obi and the LP further faulted the PEPC for dismissing their case on the premise that they did not specify the figures of votes or scores that were allegedly suppressed or inflated in favor of President Tinubu and the APC. They accused the Justice Haruna Samani-led PEPC panel of erring in law when it relied on paragraphs 4(1), D, 2, and 54 of the first schedule to the Electoral Act 2022 to strike out sections of the petition. While accusing the lower court of breaching his right to fair hearing, Obi insisted that evidence of his witnesses were wrongly dismissed as incompetent. He told the Apex Court that the panel unjustly dismissed his allegation that INEC uploaded 18,088 blood results on its IRF portal. More so, Obi alleged that the lower court ignored his allegation that the certified true copies of documents that INEC issued to his legal team comprised 18,123 blood results that contained blank A4 papers, pictures, and images of unknown persons purporting to be the CTC of polling units result of the presidential election. The learned justices of the court below erred in law and occasioned a miscarriage of justice when they held and concluded that he failed to establish the allegation of corrupt practices and overvoting, Obi added. He said it was wrong for the lower court to rely on the legal principle of estoppel to dismiss his contention that INEC bypassed its own regulations when it refused to electronically transmit the election results from polling units to the IREV. The petitioners adduced credible and substantial evidence, both oral and documentary, that proved the respondents' substantial non-compliance with the Electoral Act 2022 in the conduct of the election. The Presidential Election Petition Court overlooked the fact that the respondents failed to disprove the evidence of substantial non-compliance adduced by the petitioners. The appellant stated, adding that the panel wrongfully dismissed the issue of double nomination raised against Tinubu's Vice President, Kashim Shettima. Likewise, Obi insisted that the PEPC overlooked the evidence establishing that President Tinubu had been previously indicted and fined $460,000 in the USA for his involvement in a drug-related case. Obi further argued in his appeal that imposition of a fine is not limited to a criminal conviction, as the word in law includes a civil forfeiture. The panel said to communicate the judgment date to all the parties.
Okay, you've listened to the video. So the case between Tinubu and P2B, I think, has been adjourned now. We'll be keeping our ear open, wide open to listen, to hear. I will keep our eyes open to see, and I'm going to be bringing the presentation to you here as it unfolds, okay? All right, the next unfolding aspect of this Supreme Court today, they say journalists people not go inside though. The same thing they did during appeal court, they have started in Supreme Court now. They are now pursuing the eyes of the world, which are the journalists. No camera, journalists shouldn't go in. They said they didn't go in, they used DSS to chase them away. Not be me go talk. All right, now, let's watch the video. Watch the video.
Most importantly, most of the cameramen were not even granted access into the courtroom. Why? Because they said they were trying to contain the crowd. Only reporters are actually being allowed entrance into the courtroom. A few of them, actually. You can see some litigants who wanted to be part of the proceedings today, but of course they've been deprived access into the courtroom. As it is expected, of course it was expected that the Secretary of Affairs would be here to regulate, affairs of individuals, going on within these premises. Right now, of course, there are 7-man panel led by Justice Iyan Okoro, hearing the appeal. The appeal kicked off at about 9:10 a.m. this morning. We are expecting to get more information as to what will be the outcome. It is expected that these lawyers will adopt, the lawyers who are representing these parties will adopt their cases, the processes today after adopting, and then the court is supposed to adjourn for or reserve judgment. They are actually working with a particular number list given to them, a particular number of people who are supposed to go inside. Apparently, the list didn't contain some cameraman. And even when we try to say that at least one of the cameramen should actually go in and do the usual coverage and then be able to syndicate to other cameramen, that wasn't allowed. I think they are trying to, contain the security situation, around the Supreme Court, knowing that, yes, the Apex Court is a very, very, sensitive environment at this moment.
Guys, have you seen that? So that's all that happened so far. I'm bringing you up to speed. If you know you've not subscribed to Man Police Corner, subscribe now and turn on the notification bell, the one that say on top. If you're not following us on Facebook as well, follow us on our platform for you to be getting the real-time information as they unfolds. All right, guys, if you love what you're doing here, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter, even on TikTok. All of Man Police Corner. Love, guys. Peace out.